Hey, everybody. Today for you, podcast number 011. Today's podcast is titled Too Good Not to Share. Welcome to this week's edition of your weekly Limitless Life Network podcast. I'm Dr. Pete Lombardi, and this is the Limitless Life Network podcast, where we flesh out the limitations that are preventing you from reaching your goals and living the life that you deserve. It's a little chilly in here tonight. This podcast is for you if you want to live a life with less limitations and more freedom with a healthier mind, body, and spirit. And the Limitless Life Network podcast was born out of the scriptures in Ephesians 3:20, which reads, "Now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work within us." And I want to help you to recognize and tap into that limitless power that is at work within you. And today's podcast is titled Too Good Not to Share. And I got to say that I am totally borrowing this from a podcast and a presentation that I heard last week. Went to a convention / seminar / workshop, whatever you want to call it, down in Miami Beach, Florida. And one of my mentors, Sean Dill, presented the opening, presentation at this workshop, and it was just really good. And he then put it into a podcast this next day, and it was still really good. And I thought, this is really good stuff, and I have to share it. So I figured, what better place to share it than on the Limitless Life Network podcast, because it really addresses a lot of things that we talk about here, which are limitations that are preventing you from living more of the life that you deserve and achieving your goals. So that's some of the backstory. So I have for you 5 points, but he actually borrowed this message from a pastor that he follows online. So I guess it's meant to be shared. And it actually originates from a book in the Bible, and it's actually chapter 4 of Exodus, where Moses and God are having a conversation. And basically what Moses says to God as they're talking right in the beginning is, what if they don't believe me? What if the Israelites don't believe me? And what if they don't listen to me? So what if they don't believe, and what if they don't listen to me? And God said, "What is in your hand? What is in your hand?" And he said, "A staff." And God told him to throw it down on the ground. So he throws it down on the ground, and it turns into a snake. And then God tells him to pick it up by the tail. And then he does that, and he picks it up by the tail, and it turns back into a stick again. And that is the staff that he goes on to eventually part the Red Sea with. But the whole point of this message, or what this sermon originally was by the pastor, and what Sean Dill was talking about, are all the what ifs. The what ifs, and that's what Moses was talking about. He was filled with some fear. He was filled with this uncertainty, and he began to speculate like we always do. What if it doesn't work? What if this? So that's point number 1, is that we all have what ifs in our life. But here's the thing. And this is what God said. He said, what is in your hand? So in other words, what is the evidence that you have right now in front of you? And those are truths, right? So what is the evidence? And let me ask you this, when you talk about all these what ifs, what if this doesn't work? What if they don't believe me? What if it doesn't go right? What if I don't look good? What if they laugh at me? And what if I run out of money? What if I lose my house? What if All of these things prevent you from doing things. But what is the evidence for all of your what ifs? Because the what ifs are merely speculations. They're merely making up ideas in your head that aren't necessarily a reality. And, I started doing this podcast. Is it easy to do a podcast? Well, no, it's not. It takes some work. It takes some effort, right? But let me say, did I think that maybe some people wouldn't like it? Sure. There might be people that hate this podcast. Could there be people that make fun of it? Sure, they could make fun of it. There's a lot of what ifs, but it's not going to stop me from doing it. What if somebody leaves a bad comment? Right? But who are those people? So the first one is, we all have what ifs in our life, but what is the evidence for all the what ifs in your life? So is there really proof that these what ifs are true? Because they haven't even happened yet. And you're never going to begin because you're busy working on your what ifs instead of your what is. So Sean Dill's wife, Lacey, said this the other night as I was listening to her. She was presenting something on YouTube, and she said something to this effect, and this is point number 2, because these what-ifs are lies that we tell ourselves, and lies will sit in your subconscious, and they will act or behave like truths until you decide they're no longer true. That is a very powerful statement. Lies will sit in your subconscious and they will act as if they are true. In other words, you will follow those lies, you will behave accordingly to those lies until one day you realize that they are not true. And that's where liberation takes place. That's where you can move beyond those untruths, those what ifs. Those things that are preventing you from progress, from reaching your goals. They are limitations to you living the life that you deserve. So it brings me to another point, which was a moment that I had years ago, a couple of years ago. Man, geez, it's got to be going on 3-4 years now. My son and I drove down to a place in Warwick, New York. It's called the Flying Circus. And my son is a pole vaulter. And if you watch this podcast or listen to this podcast long enough, you're going to learn all about my family. And we were competing down there in this summer pole vault contest. And these are some of the best pole vaulters all over the Northeast that show up for this fun event. It's a festival. And the man that runs the whole thing is Coach St. Lawrence, and he is super well known in the track and field world. And he is he's an older man. He's in his he's got to be pushing close to 80 now, but he's full of life, lots of energy. Love this guy. He just has such a zest for life. Anyway, he loves the kids. He loves these young guys and gals. And one of the things I heard him say, I overheard him say it to one of his vaulters that practices there with him and that he's coached for years. And he goes, "Hey, you know what? It's not against the rules to PR today." He whispered that to him. "It's not against the rules to set a personal record today." It's okay. It's not against the rules. And it made me think to myself that we oftentimes don't give ourselves the permission to be the best that we can. We set up these limitations in our mind that we can't perform, whether it's a physical contest or whether it's just getting some work done or whether it's just being the best version of you in any moment where you're trying to show up. And he said, "You know what? It's not against the rules. You can actually break all kinds of records today. It's totally okay to do that." And I thought to myself, what a great mindset. No wonder he's accomplished so many great things, because it lives up in his mindset that it's okay. There's nothing wrong with doing something you've never done before. There's no rule against doing something amazing today. something spectacular, something that's beyond your something that maybe you've just only dreamed about for a brief moment. It's okay to do that. I thought to myself, wow, what a great message. It's not against the rules to PR today. So, and that brings me to point number 4. And point number 4 is quite simply, your what ifs are killing your progress. So if you want to move forward, you've got to get those what ifs under control. You've got to call them out for what they are. And when you do, when you get a handle on the what ifs, you could probably write down 3 things right now that will move you faster than anything else toward doing something that you're desiring to do. But you're not doing those 3 things because of these what ifs. And there are these stories that you're telling yourself. There are these lies that you're telling yourself. And maybe there is some half-truth to them, right? But you're not getting beyond it. You're letting that control the narrative. And until you say, you know what is? What is? I'm sitting here right now. I'm filming a podcast. I'm sitting with these lights shining on me. That's what's true. And I'm going to deliver the best message that I possibly can. That's what I have control over. I have the control over the moment right now and what actions I'm taking right now. That's the truth. That is a what is, that is right now. What's in your hand? What is in your hand? What is in front of your face? What is the work that you need to get done today? So your what ifs, they're just killing progress. And when you get those under control, you will accelerate everything. And number 5, point number 5, we're already to point number 5, and we got there really quick because this is great stuff. There are dozens of examples today of things that we use every single day that once upon a time were thought to be impossible. Think about that. A cell phone, literally holding a cell phone in your hand, right? That was once upon a time to talk to somebody through a screen, to listen to a podcast, to watch a video recording on a computer of somebody speaking. Like once upon a time, that was thought to be absolutely impossible. Driving in a car, flying in an airplane, speaking through a microphone, all of those things once impossible. I mean, flush toilets were once impossible, I mean, you could go on and on through history and look at there were points in time where somebody said, you know what? I'm going to dream this thing and I'm actually going to bring it to fruition. I'm not going to let these what ifs hold me back. Instead, I'm going to pursue a passion that I have for whatever discovery I'm trying to produce. Whatever it might be, that whatever is happening now was once thought to be impossible. It was once thought to be impossible to run a 4-minute mile. Now there's countless people that can run over a mile in 4 minutes. It's amazing what the human body's been able to overcome. But it all has to begin in your mind. And the best way to get there is to clear out all those limitations, all those blocks, right? And those are the what ifs. Don't let those hold you back, okay? Because this week is going to be your week. You're going to take control of everything, okay? That is all we have for this week's edition of your weekly Limitless Life Network podcast. Tune in each and every week to stay connected, be inspired, and keep moving toward your best life by stripping away your limitations. Have a great week, everybody.